hallelujah, that you know of is in the 23rd Psalm.
Yes, sir.
Psalm 23, right in the middle of the Psalm. As a matter of fact, if you're reading out of the New King James Version, y'all should be working on this, I'm getting a lot of echo. If you're reading out of the New King James Version or the King James, it literally is a verse to itself right in the middle of the 23rd Psalm.
Yes, sir. Yes, it is.
Psalm 23 and 4 says what? Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. You can be seated in the presence of the Lord. This morning, I want to rush through, amen, a 40-minute message in about 25 minutes. But I want to get it all out. Because this morning I need to talk to some shadow walkers. Hallelujah. Can you look around and tell about 2 or 3 people, I'm a shadow walker. I'm a shadow walker. I'm a shadow walker. Hallelujah. If the preached word of God is to be relevant to the people of God, it must be inspired by the Spirit of God and influenced by the experiences of those it is preached to. And so it is incumbent upon the preacher at times for us to lift our heads from the sanctity of the sacred text and to take a moment to pay attention to people. When paying attention to people, we are at first amazed by how different from one another each of us happens to be. A great prolific author once wrote this: though we are all of one blood and one flesh, yet each of us is so profoundly unique that there has never been anyone exactly like us in all of history, and there never shall be. The complex pairing of molecular structures that comprise the singular strands of deoxyribonucleic acid that orchestrate specific genetic instructions utilized in your development and ongoing function were designed by our infinite creator to be distinctively yours. Everything about you that makes you different from everyone else is the result of your Father purposefully and providentially designing your DNA to drive you toward your destiny. Hallelujah. As quoted from the book of James. And still, paying attention to people will cause you to become aware of the undeniable truth that though each of us is profoundly different and peculiarly unique, yet in many ways we are all very much the same. There are commonalities that remind us that He has made us of one blood, of every nation of men to dwell on the face of the earth, as it says in Acts chapter 17. When I pay attention to people, I am always reminded of the wise words of Dr. Martin Luther King, who said that in a real sense, all life is interrelated. All men are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied in a single garment of destiny. Whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly. And so, whether directly or indirectly, there are some commonalities that affect us all. One of those commonalities has to do with fear. Every one of us in this room is fearful to some degree about something. We all deal with fear differently. Some of us are afraid of a few things. Others are fearful about almost everything. Some have moderate or even minuscule bouts with fear, while others are overwhelmed to the point of being paralyzed by your phobia. But everyone deals with fear. Some people are afraid of heights. heights. Some people are afraid of small rooms. Some people are afraid of crowds. Some people are afraid to be by themselves. I've been to the zoo and seen children who were afraid of elephants, and I've been around grown folk who were afraid of spiders. Everybody is afraid of something. Some people are afraid of heights. Some people are afraid of the roller coaster. And do you know there are even people who are afraid of the merry-go-round? Everybody is afraid of something at some time. And then there are the more practical day-to-day fears. How are we going to pay our mounting bills when we are plagued by a personally declining economy? How are we going to save enough to finance our children's education? How are we going to get the expensive surgery we need when our health care is not up to par? How are our children going to fend for themselves when we are no longer able to watch out for them? Everybody is afraid of something, and every day life throws something at you that is designed to cause you to be fearful. Statistics show that the average student loan debt for class of 2017 graduates is $39,400, up 6% from the previous year. 40% of millennials say they fear getting stuck with no development opportunity. Fear is real. Yes, it is. And we all grapple with it in some way. And it is not just people in the world that deal with fear. Church folk. Church folk are afraid of a lot of stuff. And to make a point, there's an online tool called Bible Study Tools. And a lot of Christians, when they're trying to find answers for things, they go to that site, Bible Study Tools. 4 out of the 10 most popular Bible verses on Bible Study Tools directly address fear. Meaning that 4 out of 10 times when people go to that site, they're looking for a verse that will in some way help them get through their fear. Come on. And that means that people who fully understand that the word of the Lord is a strong tower where the righteous can run in and are saved, even though we have that understanding, we are yet people who are contending with combating fear and uncertainty. Let's make it a little more personal. The fact of the matter is that there are people who are listening to me right now. You are saved, you are sanctified, filled with the Holy Ghost, you on your way to heaven anyhow, you're living for the Lord every day, and yet something is happening in your life with your saved self. Something that you are perceiving can possibly happen. Or you are worried about the discovery of something that has already happened. At the point where your fear threatens to overwhelm your faith. You are sitting on the pew with someone who is struggling with fear so potent that it has the potential to prevent you from pursuing the limitless potential available to you in this season. You're sitting on the wall with somebody who's dealing with fear, even if you're sitting on the pew by yourself. Let me just tell you that all fear isn't bad. The Bible mentions 2 specific types of fear. The first type is beneficial and is to be encouraged. The second type is a detriment and needs to be overcome. Yes, it does. The first type of fear is the fear of the Lord. Amen. The fear of the Lord refers to a reverential awe of God, a reverence for his power and his glory, and a proper response for his wrath and his anger. Everybody should fear the Lord. As a matter of fact, because I got to keep moving, I ain't got time to really stay here and talk about it like I want to, but one of the problems that we have in the church, and I addressed it a little bit last Sunday in the message at the table. One of the problems that we have in the church is that we have become so common, we have become so comfortable that many people who proclaim to be Christians no longer have a reverential fear of God. I know that's not popular, and y'all don't want me to stay there, and you should be happy that I don't have time, but some of us have no fear of God. That's why you feel like you can do anything that you can get away with because you don't fear God. Can I tell you that there were some things that nobody was watching me, but I still couldn't do it because in the back of my head, I remember my mom saying, when I don't see you, he does. Is there anybody here that knows that he's watching when nobody else is? And yes, he is loving. And yes, he is merciful. And yes, he is kind. And yes, he is forgiving. But he is also just and righteous. He is long-suffering, which means he suffers a long time, but he does not suffer forever. You need to develop a reverential fear of God, and that fear is beneficial.
That's right.
But however, the second type of fear mentioned in the Bible really deals with the spirit of fear.
Yeah.
I said the spirit of fear. The spirit of fear is what's mentioned in 2 Timothy, where it says, for God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. A spirit of fearfulness and timidity does not come from God. See, please understand, as I said in the introduction, that everybody here deals with fear. Some big, some little, some a few things, some a lot of things. It is natural. It is a part of your humanity that when certain things present themselves, you will have a moment of fear. But some of us are not living in moments. Some of us have allowed a spirit of fear to creep up over us. That means that everything that presents itself to you causes you to become fearful. That means that no matter what it is, you always see the possibility for things to go wrong before you see the opportunity for the hand of God to move you into something that can bless you. That means that you can never make a decision because you are afraid that you're going to make the wrong one. That means that you can never move forward because you're afraid that you're going to step and nothing's going to be there to catch you. You have a spirit of fear. That means that God can put a whole army of people around you to support you and encourage you, but you're still stuck because you have entertained a spirit of fear. And the spirit of fear comes against love. A spirit of fear comes against power. A spirit of fear comes against your sound mind. Meaning that you cannot walk in the love of God while you entertain a spirit of fear. You cannot experience the power of God while you entertain the spirit of fear. And you will go crazy in spite of God if you don't deal with the spirit. The Bible says in 1 John chapter 4, verse 18, there is no fear in love, but perfect love casts out fear, because fear involves torment. Can I just take a moment to tell you that God absolutely is not in the business of torment? I'm sorry, it's mostly kids over here. I don't know why I looked over here and expected to hear anything. Let me try it over here. God is not in the business of torment. God does not seek to torment you. If you are living in constant torment, if you are frustrated every day, if you are fearful every day, if you think somebody chasing you every day, if every day you wake up and you got to fight with the world because everybody hating on you, I need you to understand you are living in torment, and that is not of God.
Make it plain, sir.
Again, it's a good thing I ain't got no time. Because if I had time, jumped on the man because he went in her closet with the camera. Yeah, ain't nobody trying to keep you from watching Neely Leaks.
Real Housewives of Atlanta.
Real Housewives, ain't nobody trying to block you. And since that's all you doing all day, ain't nobody hating on you.
Oh my.
That is a spirit of fear and torment. Hallelujah. And I ain't got time to do it. Listen, the text says, but he who fears has not been made perfect in love. In other words, the presence of fear in the life of a believer is evidence that we are not yet perfect. And it's okay. I stopped on purpose. I want that to just sit on me. If you're operating in fear, you're not operating in the spirit of love. And the text says that he who fears has not yet been made perfect in love. Meaning there's still work to be done. But it's okay.
All right.
Philippians chapter 3, verse 13. I count not myself to have apprehended, but this one thing I do, forgetting those things which are behind, reaching forward to those things which are ahead, I press toward the mark of the prize of the high calling of God in Christ Jesus. I keep on walking. I want to walk in faith because I understand that without faith it is impossible to please the Lord. But I'm struggling with my fears. I thank God for His Word, and throughout His Word, God has liberally sprinkled encouragement against fear. Beginning in the book of Genesis, and continuing all throughout the book of Revelation, God reminds us to fear not. For example, Isaiah 41:10 encourages us. He says, do not fear, for I am with you. Do not anxiously look about you, for I am your God. I will strengthen you. Surely I will help you. Surely I will uphold you with my righteous hand. Often we fear the future and what will become of us, but Jesus reminds us that God cares for the birds of the air. And so if God cares for the birds of the air, how much more will He provide for His own children? So Matthew 10:31, Jesus says, don't be afraid. You're worth more than many sparrows. Do you honestly think that He's going to fix a banquet for sparrows every day and He's not going to see about you? God tells us to not be afraid of being alone, to not be afraid of being too weak, to not be afraid of not being heard, to not be afraid of lacking physical necessities. In Psalm 56:11, the psalmist writes, in God I trust. I will not be afraid what man can do to me. His is an awesome testimony to the power of trusting in God. He is saying that regardless of what happens, the psalmist will trust in God because he knows and understands the power of God. What amazes me about those of us who are saved and sanctified and say we've been saved for a while is that God has proven Himself over and over and over and over again, and yet we still find it difficult to trust in God. After all that He has already done for you, what makes you think that He has lost His power? Old saints sang their song, I will trust in the Lord till I die. And I promised Him that I will serve Him till I die. I'll trust in the Lord till I die. So then the key to overcoming fear is total and complete trust in God. Trusting in God is a refusal to give in to fear. It's a turning to God even in the darkest time and trusting Him to make things right. This is the trust that David speaks of. This is the trust that David uses to overcome fear in the 23rd Psalm. This is the trust that every true shadow walker must exhibit in our great God, our great shepherd. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. First of all, here is an acknowledgement of my present reality. Yea, though. Stop. Come on. Just stay right there for a minute. That deals with my present reality. Yea is a sign of affirmation, but though says that even though I'm affirming the fact that God is the light in my life, there's some dark places still hanging around. Yea, though. It's almost an oxymoron if you think about it, David. Yea, though. It means, I'm giving God praise, but I'm praising him in the midst of some stuff that other folks think I shouldn't be praising him for. Yea, though. Hallelujah. I'm happy in Jesus alone. I don't know how my bills are going to be paid this week. Yea, though. Hallelujah. I'm giving God praise and lifting up my hands, and every time I lift them, pain is shooting down my spine. And I believe I'm going to be healed. Yea, though. Somebody shout, yea, though. Yea, though. It's an acknowledgement of my present reality. Whatever you're going to get out of God, you need to start from a place that acknowledges your present reality. You can cast all your care upon him. You don't have to act like you're not going through. You don't have to act like real stuff ain't real. You don't have to act like you're not hurt. You just got to understand in the midst of your hurt that God is yet with you. Yea, Lord. Yes, God. Even though my current reality is dismal, I'm a shadow walker. I said I'm a shadow walker. I walk through the valley. I said I walk through the valley. See, the reason I keep notes, hallelujah, is so I don't preach too long. If I stay on my notes, I get through with this. But I'm a shadow walker.
Yes, sir.
Hallelujah. And I don't know, it might not be none else here, so maybe I just need to preach to myself for a minute. I said I'm a shadow walker. I walk through the valley. Hallelujah. You got valleys in your life? Hallelujah. I got valleys in my life. Hallelujah. The only difference between me and some of you is that I keep on walking. Hallelujah. Somebody on the high side of your head will tell them, I learned how to keep on walking. Hallelujah. I'm a shadow walker. I refuse to be paralyzed by fear. I'm a shadow walker. I don't know what's lurking for me in the shadows, but I know if I keep moving, it's hard for it to catch up with me. I'm a shadow walker. I keep walking because I know that there is other terrain up ahead. I'm in the dark right now, but I know that the light is shining somewhere, and so I will keep walking. I may have lost my sense of direction because I'm in the dark, but I am not my own compass. So if I lead not to my own understanding, but acknowledge him in all my ways, he will direct my path. Even in the darkness, I am a shadow walker. I keep walking. Not that I have attained it or already have been perfected, but I am pursuing. If also I may lay hold of that for which also I was laid hold of by Christ Jesus. I keep pressing. I said I keep pressing because I'm a shadow walker. Listen. Can I just pause here to tell you that every believer is going to find yourself in the shadow sometime? I said every believer is going to find yourself in the shadow sometime. Hallelujah. Can you encourage about 2 or 3 people sitting around you and tell them you better keep walking? I'm almost done. Listen. I need you to notice something.
Yes, sir.
Because you all know the song. You know how it starts. I need you to notice that the psalmist turns his attention from green pastures and quiet waters to a dark valley. The reality is that in our lives will not always be characterized by green pastures and quiet waters. Sometimes when we call upon to walk through darkness or gloom into each life, it rains on the just. There will be dark places. There will be foreboding places. There will be long nights. Weeping endures for a night, but joy comes in the morning. Keep walking. Morning time is coming. The valley of the shadow of death is a place of deep darkness. But I'm a shadow walker.
Thank you, Lord.
I was made for this.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So, even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, y'all go ahead and preach with me here. See. Y'all I think you for sure gonna say something.
Yeah.
Y'all get real quiet. I just knew that when I stopped right there, I'd hear a whole church say, I'm gonna try it again. And I want you to say it whether you believe it or not. Because sometimes you got to say it until you see it. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. Almost. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. Sometimes you got to get an attitude with the devil, like you want to get an attitude with Negroes on Facebook. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. My God. It's amazing how we go hard on each other and back off the devil. The Hebrew word for evil in the text is a word that refers to harm or trouble. The psalmist is saying, even in difficult times, I won't be fearful of harm. Now, I told you earlier that throughout his word, God has liberally sprinkled encouragement against fear. What I did not tell you is this. Little known fact. Once I tell you, you'll never forget it. If you look up the words, fear not, in the Bible, you will find that that phrase shows up 365 times. Not 364, not 366. Yo, go ahead and preach to yourself. It's all right. 365 times. That means no matter what comes to you tomorrow, no matter what shows up Tuesday, God is right there every day. Fear not. Every situation, fear not. Every problem, fear not. Come on. Well, it's Mother's Day. We spend more time on breakfast than I'm going to spend on the word.
It was good.
I'm losing my voice anyway. I got to shout at least one time in the month of May because my daughter told somebody that I don't let y'all shout no more.
You know that.
When the babies start missing shouting, the preacher needs to turn it up. I promise you, Destiny, I'm gonna turn it up soon. When I feel myself sweating, girl, I need to look over there and see you going. But not today. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I choose not to fear evil. For thou art with me. Art with me. See, Alicia, if you had to depend on you, I can understand you being afraid. Come on. Shonda's sitting behind me, and she been going for bad half the time. But there's some things that even pop up in Shonda's life that she couldn't handle if she had to handle it on her own. And I'm blessed that I don't have to walk through life by myself. I've got an anointed woman of God by my side. And when I want to give up, she tells me I can't. But sometimes after she gets finished encouraging me, can I just tell you that all of her words fall on deaf ears because she's talking and I'm looking over her shoulder, and whatever it is that has caused fear to grip You don't walk alone.
That's right. That's right.
I know people, even people who love you,
Yes.
they will only stay with you for so long.
My God.
Let me just share this. Brother Chris, you can start playing. I'm going to wrap it up here. But let me just share this with you. Stop tripping.
Stop tripping.
When people have loved on you,
Thank you, Lord God.
but feel the need to get back to living their lives,
Wow.
nobody, no matter how much they love you, nobody can afford to put their life on hold indefinitely while you choose to remain in the state that you're in. At some point in time, I've got to get back to loving on myself as much as I've tried to love you. Because if I stay in doubt with you for too long, then doubt starts creeping up in my life. And now we're both stuck in the valley of the shadow of death. So at some point in time, people will walk away. It does not mean they don't love you. It means they had to get back to living their life. The reason you trip, the reason you go off on them on social media, the reason you start talking about, I was there for everybody.
Oh my. Oh my.
And now I wasn't nobody here for me.
It's a word, son.
My.
It's because when they left, you thought they left you alone. 63 years on this earth. 58 of them say, I've never seen the righteous forsaken, or his seed beg for bread. When I tell you that he walks with you, I'm not talking about what my mother taught me. And I'm so grateful that she taught me. But I'm living the day based on what I've learned myself. He is an ever-present help in the time of trouble. What kind of trouble are you going through? What you dealing with? I know you're dealing with something. And listen, you're praising your way through it, and you should. But I know when you get finished praising, sometimes that fear demon is still there.
Yes, he is.
But you will not entertain the spirit of fear. Because you're a shadow walker. We used to have a setting around here. The Lord told you something to do. And somebody would say, I'm afraid. And y'all would look at him and say, do it afraid. Shadow walkers do it afraid. Shadow walkers see the boogeyman hanging out in the darkness and keep right on walking. Shadow walkers never turn and run the opposite direction.
No.
Because I've come too far to turn back now. Listen, my daughter didn't mean no harm. And I totally understood what she was saying. Because the reality is, I don't shout y'all anymore. And the reason is because y'all were shouting. But you weren't learning. And I realized that many of you were shouting out of your pain. As opposed to shouting for your freedom.
My God. That's real. Yes, sir.
Yes, Lord.
So I decided to slow it down.
Yes.
Not because I'm older, but because I'm wiser. I decided to talk to you sometime.
Yes, sir.
And instead of getting you to a point of frenzy, where I would be assured that everybody would be on their feet hollering back at me, I get real quiet and say to you, I need you to ask yourself, if you're determined in this season of limitless potential to be a shadow walker, or if you're going to allow the shadows to prevent you from pursuing your potential.
Thank you, Lord.
I'm not praying shadows away today. I'm not praying darkness away today. I just want to agree with some folk who have made up their mind that I'm a shadow walker and I'm going to keep walking through the darkness. If I'm talking to you, can you just stand to your feet real quick? And as you stand, just begin to give God some praise that He's walking with you. He's walking with you. He's walking with you. Say, I'm a shadow walker. Come on, open your mouth. I'm a shadow walker. I can handle the shadows. I am a shadow walker. Let it come out of your mouth. I'm a shadow walker. I was made for this. I can handle this. I got somebody on my side. Sometimes I'm weak, but it's still is made perfect. I'm never alone. Father, for every man, every woman, every boy and girl that is standing, we only ask one thing of you today, and that is that you walk with us. We're not going to give up. We're not going to give out. We're going to do it afraid. We may not know what comes next, but we know that you're coming. We don't know, as my mama used to say, what tomorrow holds, but we know you hold tomorrow. So we're not trusting in what we can see, but trusting in what we know. We know that you love us. We know that you have prepared for us. Even if we find ourselves in the belly of a fish, it's a fish that was prepared for us. We're never in any situation that you have not gone through first. And you've made a way of escape for us. So, Father, we're going to take a moment to think about the fears that we came into this house with. Just a moment. And then we're going to give you premature praise for predetermined outcome. Because whatever we're in is coming to an end in Jesus' name. If you believe it, come on and give God praise.